Tim, you're broken. You need to go back to the factory.
We're attempting to manipulate them, Abby.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 science fiction thriller, T.I.M. The film is co-written and directed by Spencer Brown and it stars Georgina Campbell, Eamon Farren and Mark Rowley. Now the film focuses on a married couple. They've clearly been going through some marital issues and it expands on that further in the film. It looks like he's had an affair or something like that, so there's a lot of distrust in the relationship. She gets a job offered to her at like this big tech company, and this tech company wants to use her technological skills to help them finish the design on T.I.M, who essentially is a technological interactive manservant, I think it stands for. Because they want to roll it out to the general public, but right now it's just not completely ready to go to market. So she's been brought on board to kind of iron out all the issues. Everybody that is employed by this big tech company has one of these T.I.Ms in their homes in order to see how it works, and this couple is no exception, Abby and Paul. However, T.I.M develops something of an infatuation with Abby that only seems to get worse as time progresses. When her husband Paul becomes aware of this, things start to turn sinister. Right, what are my thoughts on T.I.M or T.I.M? Right, first of all, these sort of movies, you know, I know AI these days is like hugely controversial and it's a big you know, buzz subject, AI at the minute. But while that might be true, films like this certainly aren't new and aren't original. We've seen films like this for a long time. And I personally have reviewed on this channel probably half a dozen, if not more, like low budget versions of this type of film, you know, where you've got like manservant robots that malfunction and, you know, start decapitating people or whatever. So the premise here is not new. And even the premise of, you know, a robot turning bad is not new as well. I mean, after the success of Megan last year, excuse me, I think we're going to see a lot more of movies like this as well, so I don't think we're done with this premise by any stretch of the imagination. Now, what you get here with T.I.M is a slightly more polished, bigger budget version of, as I say, similar kind of stories that I have covered on this channel over the last few years. It's got a slightly more impressive cast, slightly more impressive production values, and slightly more impressive performances. The lead here, Georgina Campbell, she was in the movie Barbarian, that I personally think is one of the most original horrors of the last few years. I don't think that got enough praise and attention. You can't even get it on Blu-ray, which is a real shame, but I do recommend you check it out, guys, if you get the opportunity. I'm starting to see more and more of her these days. I think she was in Bird Box 2 as well. And she makes a compelling lead here. You know, she's this wife that wants to trust her husband but doesn't trust her husband, and then she's got this complex relationship going on with her employers, and then you've got T.I.M in the household that's mixing things up. You know, she gives an impressive performance here that she has to kind of do different emotions where she needs to, and it certainly does the job. Mark Rowley, who plays her husband Paul, again does a decent enough job. I don't necessarily know if I thought they had great chemistry. However, that could have been part of the point, because they kind of moved to this house to kind of reconnect after his infidelities, if you like. So that could have been by design, and that's the way I'm going to look at it, rather than the fact that I'm not sure they had a great deal of chemistry between them. And then you've got Eamon Farren as T.I.M. I think the only thing I remember seeing him in previously was the Witcher TV show. And he gives a fine performance here as this android Tim. Suitably creepy from the off, really, and it just gets creepier, the performance. But I think the biggest problem with this film is it doesn't hold any surprises anywhere in the film. You kind of know where it's going, you kind of know where it's heading. It doesn't really disappoint, and it offers up no originality and no twists, no surprises or anything like that. And it actually, if I'm being really honest here, it actually was a bit tame. I'd like to see one of these movies where they actually commit, really commit to the violence, really commit to the brutality, really commit. And while there are probably some out there that people could mention in the comments and stuff, I'm not sure we've seen a definitive one yet. And I don't mean like a Megan film or a Chucky film, that they're different than this, really, in many ways. I mean, a film like this, with the AI manservant, so I don't think this is a bad film. I think for the most part it's well made. I think for the most part it's got some strong performances here on display. I think what it lacks is shocks, thrills, scares. It doesn't really hold any of that, to be particularly honest. And with a film like this, you kind of want to be on the edge of your seat. You want to be, a little bit tense. You want to be a little bit unsure as what's coming. And while this film doesn't give you a lot of that, it does give you a pretty watchable film for the most part. So yeah, if you like this type of subgenre, sci-fi, horror, thriller, subgenre type film, the malfunctioning AI manservant type robot, this is one of the better ones that I've seen in recent years, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's memorable and highly recommend either at the same time. So yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you like the review, please click the like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I will of course be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.